Greetings, programs, and if you're new here, welcome in. Folks, we've got a real treat for you today because we're talking about one of my top 5 favorite movies, Tron Legacy. But before that, we should go over a little Tron lore. The original Tron was released on July 9th, 1982. It was one of the first films to use heavy CGI as its premise. All the work that went into this movie is pretty crazy, but could have been done pretty quickly today. But if we went into all the logistics of that, we'd be here all day. Sure, it doesn't look great by today's standards, but for 1982, this movie was a game changer. My first introduction to Tron was through Kingdom Hearts 2, and boy, I fell in love. This is Disney? Why have I never seen this? Why is no one talking about this? I was part of the Tron cult before I had even seen the first movie. Tron stars Jeff Bridges, Bruce Boxleitner, Cindy Morgan, and David Warren. Jeff Bridges plays a man named Kevin Flint, a video game designer who had several video games stolen from him and was then fired from his programmer job by the same guy that stole the games. Kevin now owns an arcade and has made it his personal mission to get proof that someone has in fact stole these very games that he owns in this arcade. Kevin makes a program called Clue to hack into the mainframe of Incom.
Sir, but I'm not sure.
No buts, Clue. That's for users. Now, you're the best program that's ever been written. You're dogged and relentless, remember?
Let me at him.
That's the spirit.
But Clue is caught and de-rezzed by the Master Control Program, who we'll call MCP for short. MCP and its user, Ed Dillinger, aka the CEO of Incom, are planning to take over the grid and possibly the world. MCP also has help on the inside from a program named Sark. All three of these characters are played by David Warner. Good for him. Later, Alan Bradley, played by Bruce Boxleitner, is checking on one of his programs, Tron, when he gets a message that he's been locked out of the system. And you would think with a series called Tron that he would be the main character, but that's kind of a far cry from the entire series, actually. Alan goes to Ed to see what's going on, and Ed tells Alan that he needs to stop his buddy Kevin from hacking into their systems. Alan and Laura, played by Cindy Morgan, go to pay Kevin a visit at his arcade. They end up chatting for a bit, and Flynn ends up convincing them to help him break into Incom. They break into Incom in the middle of the night, and Flynn starts to hack the system. The MCP realizes what he's doing and tells him that he should really stop. But Flynn doesn't listen, and he keeps tip-tapping away. And all of a sudden, the MCP zaps him with a laser that they've been using to transport organic material into the digital world. Flynn gets zapped into cyberspace, and this is where we get our first look at this CGI world. I will say, they did a really good job with the remaster. It looks great compared to the original one. Flynn ends up getting thrown in cyber jail, where he meets a program named Ram, played by Dan Shore. Ram helps him find his way to Tron, who's also played by Bruce Boxleitner.
Who's that guy?
That's Tron. He fights for the users.
Tron.
I feel like a lot of what happens after this is kind of just showing off the CGI for the time. We're introduced to the games and the light cycles at one point. They save Tron's girlfriend Yori, also played by Cindy Morgan. The four end up separating, with Ram going with Flynn, where they would eventually run into trouble that leads to the derez of Ram. Flynn ends up realizing he can control some aspects of the grid,
Now for some real user power.
and changes his color to try to disguise himself so that he can get back to Tron. Tron and Yuri end up running back into Flynn,
Me, Flynn! Flynn!
Yeah, greetings, program!
Flynn, you're alive.
where they work together to finally bring down the MCP. Flynn gets back into the real world with proof that his games are in fact his games, and he becomes the CEO of Incom. The end. And there are several other pieces of media that tie into the timeline of these two movies, but we're not here to talk about those. We're here to talk about the story of a young man named Sam Flynn. Tron Legacy was released 15 years ago today.
Go shorty, it's your birthday.
Legacy was released into theaters on December 17th, 2010, making $400 million worldwide at the box office. The film stars Garrett Hedlund, Olivia Wilde, Jeff Bridges, and Bruce Boxleitner. I didn't get to see Tron Legacy in theaters, but I still remember seeing it in high school and being blown away. I was so hyped that this little franchise that none of my peers talked about was finally getting more. And not only that, Jeff Bridges was back, baby. This was during a time I was watching The Big Lebowski like once a month.
I'm the dude. So that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, you know, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
And then to top it off, we get this sweet Daft Punk soundtrack. The film opens up with Kevin in a young Sam's bedroom talking to him about the grid and Tron. And we get a look at Disney's first attempts at de-aging, which doesn't look the best, but it's still pretty cool. Kevin tucks Sam in for the night and leaves to the office to get some work done, but he might as well said that he was going for milk and cigarettes because he never comes back. After Kevin's disappearance, Sam is raised by his grandparents and Alan becomes CEO of Incom, but the board swiftly seizes control of the company. Alan is convinced that Kevin isn't dead or missing, but that he is in fact pursuing his dream of a digital frontier to reshape the human condition. After a small snippet of news clips, we jump 20 years into the future. And just a heads up, you're gonna hear me gush about this movie the entire time I talk about it. The score, the cinematography, the mix of practical effects and CGI, it's everything I want in a film. Every shot feels so planned and precise, but yet so beautiful. It's like math and art.
Biodigital jazz, man.
Yeah, something like that, man. We jump 20 years into the future with this amazing transition.
It's simply too good.
Sam is being chased by the police, but does this freaking sick maneuver to get away from them. Sam is on his way to Incom for some good old-fashioned justice. We get one of the first Tron callbacks, and Sam is able to get inside of Incom. But he's not here looking to take anything. In fact, he's here looking to give something away. You see, ever since the board has taken over, Incom has basically become a for-profit company. But Sam is still his father's child. We also find out that Alan Bradley is still a part of the company, but doesn't really seem to be treated like it. Sam ends up sneaking his way through the Incom building and into the server where he releases the files to the public. But he's caught by a security guard who chases him to the roof. That's where we find out that Sam is still a majority shareholder of the company.
You know who the biggest shareholder is. I don't know, some kid.
Sam ends up jumping off the roof and does a pretty sick getaway until he collides with a pole where he falls on top of a taxi cab. He's surrounded by cops and then arrested, but doesn't stay in jail for very long because after all, he's still a millionaire, I assume. Which is weird because he lives in a shipping container by the river. But hey, I like the vibe. It's cozy. But somehow Alan is in his house when he gets home, and Alan lets him know that he got a page from his father's office.
Oh man, still rocking the pager.
From the same line that's been disconnected for 20 years. Sam tells Alan that he's the only person that still thinks of Kevin the way that he does.
He's either dead or chilling in Costa Rica. Probably both.
Alan ends up giving Sam the keys to the arcade and hopes that he'll go check it out. All of this makes me feel like Alan knows a little bit more than he's leading on, but he did get that page. I
got a paper trail to prove it. Check this out. Take a look at this.
Sam ends up convincing himself to go, though, and he ends up at the arcade. One of Journey's best tunes in my opinion. He doesn't find anything at first, but then a certain cabinet catches his eye. He notices grooves in the floor from the cabinet swinging out and decides to investigate a little further. He finds a door that opens to a secret tunnel that leads to his dad's real office and a really strange computer with the last login at 20 years, 11 days, and 20 hours. He ends up being able to get into the computer, but after fiddling with a few settings, he accidentally zaps himself into the grid. Whoa. He's pretty startled and he runs outside to figure out what's going on, and he's quickly picked up by a giant machine. There are people on board dressed in strange clothes as well as some kind of militia. They say that he's some sort of program, and at this point, Sam realizes what's going on. They assign him to the games, and he gets hooked up with some sick new duds. Like your boy.
This can't be good.
One of the programs realizes something is a little off with him, but sends him anyway. Apparently the games aren't that fun though, because one of the programs would rather not be alive than to play them. Sam figures out the game pretty quickly though, which seems to be a family trait, and wins his first match. Fun fact, they showed a teaser for Tron Legacy at a Comic-Con in 2008, and the cheers that you hear in this scene are the cheers from the crowd at the panel. Sam is able to escape the game pod, but ends up face to face with a program called Rensler, who seems to be the best of the best.
Oh my God, what is that? What is that?
Sam sustains a cut during the fight, and Rensler realizes that he is in fact not a program. A masked man sits above the stadium, and he asks him who he is, and he replies, Sam Flynn. And the crowd goes silent. Sam is brought to the man, who reveals himself as Kevin. But Sam quickly finds out that this is in fact Clue.
I'm not your father, Sam. But I'm very, very happy to see you.
A program that his father designed as a mirror of himself. Clue sends Sam back down to compete in a light cycle battle. I guess hoping to kill him, because Clue himself joins in. I remember being in high school and seeing somewhere on the internet that someone had built a replica light cycle from this movie, and it has been on the top of my wish list ever since. I love this battle. The music and the timing, the light ribbons, these cool liquid digital effects that are happening, and more light vehicles. Chef's kiss. Sam is about to be taken out, but is saved by a program named Cora, who takes him off-grid. They travel for a while before reaching a mountain where a light tunnel appears. This place turns out to be the home of Kevin Flynn. This scene hits a lot harder now that my dad is gone. Losing a parent at any age isn't easy, and neither is losing a child. Sam hasn't seen his dad in 20 years, but time moves differently on the grid. For Kevin, it's been 1,000 years, but he recognizes his son the moment he lays eyes on him.
Long time. You have no idea.
We get a very short-lived reunion though, when Kevin realizes that it's Clue that brought Sam to the grid in the first place. Kevin wanders off, and we get another freaking sweet vehicle, dude. And this one seems to be practical. I love when CGI looks good. Pacific Rim being one of the examples of another great CGI movie that I love. But I absolutely love practical effects. There is an art form to it. At dinner, Kevin starts to explain everything that's happened. We find out that this grid is an entirely different system from the first movie. And in the beginning, Kevin brought over Tron from the old system and created a new Clue to help bring perfect order to the system. Somewhere along the way, they met the ISOs, and Kevin goes on to explain how important the ISOs actually were, since they were basically organic. but Clue saw them as something impure that needed to be wiped from the system. We see that at one point, Clue basically jumps Kevin and Tron, and we see the end of Tron.
Sure about that? You sure about that?
Clue ends up committing genocide by wiping out all of the ISOs, and Kevin ends up going into hiding. Kevin explains that his disc is the master key, and with the portal being open from the other side, it can be used to get out.
It closed on me, Sam. That's why I never came home. My disc is everything, Sam. It's the master key.
He says that Clue is the one that sent the page in the first place to get Sam here and try to lure Kevin out to get his disc. After a small argument, Kevin goes to bed, and Sam tells Quora that he plans on getting back to the grid, getting to the portal, getting out of here, finding Alan, and deleting Clue from the outside.
This may be Clue's game here, but in my world, he's gone in one keystroke.
Quora goes off to think about it for a minute, and she ends up telling Sam that she knows somebody on the grid that might be able to help. She sends him back to the grid with some sort of token to find someone named Zeus. Sam takes off in that sick old light cycle, and we get some more beautiful shots. I cannot talk about this soundtrack enough. Every piece of music fits every scene so beautifully. Sam runs into one of the programs that he met at the beginning of the movie, and she takes him to the End of Line Club. This is where we get a cameo from the one and only Daft Punk. She introduces Sam to a man named Castor, played by Michael Sheen. At one point, Kevin realizes that Sam is gone and that he needs to go to the grid to find him.
Prepare the light runner, Cora.
Clue's lackeys eventually find the light cycle that Sam ditched, which leads Clue straight to Kevin's house. But by the time he gets there, they're already gone. Castor reveals himself to be Zeus, but we quickly realize that he's set Sam up. A bunch of goons crash into the club and start wreaking havoc. Cora ends up getting her arm chopped off mid-fight, and Kevin finally steps in to even the playing field. They go to escape, but Kevin's disc ends up getting nabbed. They're just able to keep this elevator from crashing into the ground, and Kevin is pretty frustrated.
You've done enough already! You're messing with my Zen thing, man.
But he ends up coming with an idea on just how to get to the portal.
You ever jump a freight train?
Once they're aboard, Kevin starts working on trying to fix Cora, and it's revealed to us that she's in fact an ISO. Not only is she an ISO, but she's the last ISO. Kevin explains to Sam how ISOs could have changed the world, and after tinkering with Cora's code a little bit, her arm starts to heal. Sam starts to catch Kevin up on everything he's missed, and Kevin tells Sam that he would have given up the entire grid to be with him. It cuts to Rensler in search of our three amigos, and then to Clue, confronting Zeus, taking Kevin's disc, and blowing up the club behind him.
Got the club going up.
Eventually, Cora wakes up, and she sits with Sam for a little while, and she explains exactly how her and Kevin met. They go on to talk a little bit about life on the outside, and Sam tells her that there's nothing that can compare to the sun. Everyone is caught off guard when they suddenly enter some sort of station. It turns out this was built by Clue to turn programs into his soldiers.
Clue can't create programs. He can only destroy or repurpose them.
They almost get caught by Rensler, but Cora ends up giving up herself to save the others. Rensler catches Cora, and Kevin realizes that Rensler is actually Tron.
Tron. He's alive.
I knew it!
Rensler ends up taking Cora to Clue. Clue makes a speech to his army, and Kevin realizes he's going to use his disc to try to move the entire army out of the grid and into the real world. But just like the NPC that he is, Clue points them right where they need to go.
Is finally in our possession!
Sam goes for the disc, and Kevin goes for a way to get them out of here. Sam ends up beating up a couple dudes, and he's not only able to grab the disc, but he's also able to save Cora. They make a badass escape.
Come on, kiddo. Ready to go, man.
But now Clue knows where they are. The trio take off in a ship, but Clue, Rinsler, and a couple goons are in pretty close pursuit. And this is where we get even more badass light vehicles. Thank you. They duke it out on the way to the portal, and the trio's able to take out a bunch of the goons. And after seeing Kevin,
What have you become?
it seems like Tron is trying to break through. They lose their weapons though, and just when it seems like Clue is about to take him out, Tron steps in and saves the day.
I fight for the users.
Kevin can still tell that like something is off though.
Cora, there's something I need you to do.
We see that Clue isn't actually dead, and it seems like Tron might get rebooted.
Hello, how are you? I am under the water. Please help me.
The trio make their way to the portal, only to find Clue waiting for them. Kevin tries to make amends.
I'm sorry, Clue. I'm sorry.
But Clue isn't having any of it. There's a slight fight, and Kevin tells Cora that she needs to get Sam out of here. We find out that Kevin has given Cora his disc, and he says goodbye to his son one more time.
Goodbye, kiddo.
He starts to reintegrate himself with Clue to stop Clue from reaching Sam, and this ends up destroying not only Clue, but himself, and possibly the grid. Sam and Cora are able to make it out and into the real world. I assume that Sam downloads what grid files are left. And he ends up running into Alan in the lobby of the arcade. He tells Alan that he plans on taking back control of the company and that Alan was right.
About what?
About everything.
Cora and Sam get on his bike and they ride off into the sunrise. We've gotten several pieces of Tron media over the last 15 years, some good, some bad, but in my opinion, none of it holds a candle or an identity disc. Nothing compares to Tron Legacy.
Nothing compares.
Nothing compares.
No, nothing compares to you.
This movie is still one of my favorite films and will probably remain in my top 5 until the day that I die. I wish so badly that I could have gone and seen this in theaters, but I'm so lucky to even have gotten to see it at all. Thank you all so much for watching, and see you next time when we take a look at one of my favorite Christmas comedies for the Jake Makes Holiday Special.
I'm talking about that turbo guy.
Turbo Man. Which reminds me, you got the doll, right?